I'm Amy, and this is the moment. This is the moment that I realized that I had to be the person in charge of my daughter's care, her medical care, and that I had to really take charge. I was only 28 when I had a baby, a beautiful, beautiful baby. She was so lovely. She was so perfect. She was everything. I've never been so happy in my life. And then I did what all mothers do. I took my baby to the doctor when she was about 10 days old, and she had lost 2 pounds, and I was shocked. And the doctor said, "There's something wrong. There's something really wrong." And he had his secretary walk with me to the hospital to go to the emergency room. And I was stunned. I was scared, and I was shocked because I never heard of anybody having a really sick baby before. I didn't know it really could happen, that you could have a perfect baby and then have them not be perfect. You would have no idea. And when I got to the hospital, everybody there questioned me. As I entered the machine, they said, "Mommy, didn't you notice the baby was sick? Mommy, didn't you notice the baby was vomiting? Mommy, didn't you notice the baby was losing so much weight?" And for one thing, I didn't realize they were talking to me because they were calling me Mommy. But for another thing, I thought, how would I know? Don't babies spit up? Isn't that what babies do? I looked at her every day, and every day she looked perfect to me. But that's how it is when you're with somebody all the time and you don't know. And it was really hard because they did a million tests on her, and each one was more bizarre than the last. There was this terrible barium swallow where they put the little tiny baby in almost a cage with her arms above her head and a strap on her forehead, like something from the 19th century. And I was with her when they did that, when they did the x-ray, and more tests. And now suddenly a lot of running around, a lot of whispering in corners, and finally they wanted to do a spinal tap. I couldn't figure out why they were doing all these things that seemed to have nothing to do with any organ systems that I knew anything about. So when I was in the treatment room with my daughter and they said, "We want to do a spinal tap," and I said, "Okay." And they said, "No, you have to leave." And I stood there and I didn't want to leave. And they pushed me out of the room. And my daughter, who was only 10 days old, was looking at me she was pretty scared. And I was peering in the little window at her while she was crying while they did this test. But that was the last time I did what the doctors told me to because they said so. That was the very last time. After that, I was always involved, or really arguing, or trying to find out, or trying to understand, and trying to get the best care. And, it was pretty hard because what happened was that my daughter was diagnosed with what's called an orphan disease, and not too many people have that. It's very rare, and called glycogen storage disease. It's a disease of the liver that involves blood sugar, and it's pretty counterintuitive to treat it the way you're supposed to. It's like the opposite of diabetes. And she was a very sick little girl. This is a picture of her actually at 3 months, and you can see she's pretty tiny even at 3 months, and I think you can see, let's see, right over here, you can see her hand, you can see where the IV was. But you also can see she's pretty cute. She was really quite the survivor, in and out of hospitals constantly the first 5 years of her life, and then very frequently after that, with a lot of equipment we had to carry with us, and always an emergency. And we'd go in and the doctors would not listen to us. We'd say, "We have to get a IV started right away. We have to get an IV started right away. Her blood sugar is 30. And they would say, "Well, she seems fine to me." And because with kids with her disease get very resistant to the symptoms. So we had to be pretty aggressive, and more than one time, very aggressive. And I'm very happy to say that her attending, her doctor, her pediatrician, always put in her chart, listen to the mother. But I'll never forget one time when I was pretty much screaming at a doctor. They had to start an IV right away because her blood sugar was 20 and she was going to start having seizures. He looked at me and very nasty said to me, "Are you a doctor?" And I said, "Well, yes I am. I'm a doctor in one disease in one patient. And you're just going to have to listen to me." So, it was pretty hard. It was hard for us and it was hard for her, but she grew up and she persevered and we managed, and it's been a rough road. She's had a lot of sequela, but this is her now. Or this is a few years ago, really. This is her at her prom. And she still has glycogen storage disease. She still has to put in an NG tube every night. And she still has to take 1 million meds. And now she has arthritis and she has other meds and sequela. But you know who's having the moment now? She is. And that's what I'm really proud of, is that I had the moment and I made sure that she had the moment. And she is really good at taking care of herself and making sure that she's always involved. And I'm so, so proud of that. And that's the best. Thank you.